This one is an olive branch for our liberal and leftist brothers on the other side of the political aisle. What'd you just toss here? And I tossed a fossil. Here, I'll show you the fossil. See? Pretty cool. And on the other side, I thought it was, you'd spray it with an enamel, a clear enamel. I thought it was clear. It ended up being beige. So now I got to wash it off to give it this nice shine. That's untouched, and that is touched up. So I just made myself more work is all I did. Excuse me. Alright, this one's for all the liberal boys out there, and typically younger, because as you get older, you get this thing called wisdom, and you get information, and then you start to realize just how much you've been lied to by those people who you thought were your friends. And this is why, for the most part, as people get older, they get more conservative, or libertarian at least. And that's something you young people ought to consider. Why is it the older, wiser people are going that way, who know more than you, but you are going to go this way? Because that handful of professors told you to go that way. And you're very independent-minded. I know you're all very independent-minded. That's why you follow every word your elders and your teachers told you. Anyway, it's the thought or the theory that's the conventional wisdom among the younger men of today, the college-age boys, that if you say yes to whatever a girl says or agree with her, she is going to want to sleep with you. And the truth is quite the opposite. Matter of fact, you'll stand much higher chances of disagreeing. You stand much higher chances of getting to sleep with a girl or finding yourself in a favorable position with a woman, let's just say, if you disagree with her than if you acquiesce and constantly agree. Now, why this is, I don't have the time. You got to go read that stuff up on your own. But there is nothing more supplicant and annoying and just wincing to me and all the other older guys out there who've been down this path before. Some of us were leftists, not me, but some of us were. And we see this no more common than in the leftist, liberal, weak, pansified, hipster, Converse-wearing, tight jeans-wearing, supplicant little liberal boy, where you just agree with every liberal, leftist, socialist belief that the girls espouse in the vain, pathetic hopes that it's going to get you laid. Now, when I first heard this, and I've seen this recur, it's kind of a meme, I guess, on the internet. It's like, supplicating leftist, socialist women, if you agreeing with feminists, doesn't get you laid. I thought, you know what, that's just a cheap shot. There are liberal guys, they're liberals because, they've been brainwashed to be. They're not really espousing these beliefs because they think it's going to get them laid. And then I keep seeing empirical points of bits and data that shows you actually are. So, let me intervene, like this is an intervention, we're trying to help you, hopefully deprogram you a little bit, point out the reality of the matter, and help you quit wasting your time trying to, yes, great. Women, no matter what they say, I don't care what comes out of their mouths, I don't care what they espouse to believe, understand whatever is coming out of the average young 20-something girl's mouth has been put there by other people. She has not come up with these thoughts on her own. She is merely parroting what she thinks is right and good and noble and true. Now, whether that is factual or not, we're not talking politics. I'm just saying that is what they don't think through it. And neither do the guys, frankly. Neither do the boys, because you wouldn't be sucking up to these girls if you knew better. Okay? You got to realize that they themselves, the true honest person, don't really believe it. They've just been told to believe it by their K through college indoctrinators. Now, since they don't really believe it, you merely, coming up and agreeing with them, that just makes you an agreeable person. And with thousands, millions of men trying to get into women's pants, with all the same strategy, I'm going to agree and amplify, I'm going to agree with her, yes, men are very bad, men are very, very bad, they cause all the problems in war, just shucks how to give me a knife, I'd cut myself, but please sleep with me first, alright? That doesn't get you anywhere because you're not unique. It boils down to supply and demand, okay? There is no limit to the amount of wimpy, curly raleigh fingers wearing, pansified, bearded hipster putzes espousing socialist, leftist, liberal beliefs on campus. They're a dime a dozen. What is not a dime a dozen is, I'm not saying you got to go political and say, I'm a hardcore Republican, who dang diggly dangly, let's get my guns. I'm not saying you got to go that route, but you at least got to disagree with them, right? You say, nah, you're wrong. What? And then this is the test, to test your mettle. This is the real test of a man. Well, not really, but it'll be one of the many tests of your manliness, is whether or not you stick to your guns and you hold your position, or you cave. Matter of fact, to take politics completely out of it, try this as an experiment. Let's say you really do agree with the liberal girl, okay? Let's say you're a liberal guy, you really do agree with the liberal girl. Try disagreeing with her just for an intellectual experiment and stick to your guns. See what happens. See if that doesn't get you more success in the realm of dating, courtship, and sex. Right? Now, the reason it is, and I'll explain to you economically why, or empirically why, is that you're unique. You're standing out. And even if you're standing out and she may take umbrage, she may be insulted, why, how dare you like George Bush? At least you're different and unique. And no matter how much, this is key, boys, this is key. No matter how much fucking bullshit and crying and whining and how dare you and accusations, they actually like it more. They'll say, oh, you're disgusting, you're a brute, you're a Neanderthal, how dare you? But at least you're different. And in the law of supply and demand, since you're different, you're rare and you have more value. So sure, and I can almost predict what will happen. You're at a party, some girl's there, I don't care, wear your hipster douchebag outfit, wear your skinny jeans and your Converse, grow your Raleigh fingers, mustache, and wear your thick rimmed glasses because you're unique. And no one's doing that. Do you get it? You're all that common? Go to a party, disagree with the girl, hold your position, and see if it doesn't work. Just try it. Just try it. Right? And you will be the one guy that's different. I was it. At least I stood out. They remembered my name, and that's more than any of you guys got out there at your parties. What was his name? Madison? Tyler? Tanner? Tainer? Has anybody named their kid Felix or Charlie? Got some real good old classical names going on. Tanner, Taylor, Tyner, Titner. Teener, Tarner, Teener, Tarner. Names of children born in the late 80s and early 90s. So anyway, merely agreeing with a woman is not manly. Again, this gets back now to we've talked about the economics. Let's talk about Darwinistic biology. No matter what they say, women are biologically programmed to want strong men. And a display of strength, maybe not physical, I'm not saying you gotta go do bench presses or lift cans or anything like that, but a display of strength is if you disagree and you're not intimidated by the woman. The woman can get in your face and how could you just don't yell back at her. You gotta be cool. You gotta be James Bond. You just gotta be like, I think you're wrong. And then you look up the data, and there's tons of data. This is so easy you could fake it. You could just, let's Google it, And then you just say, I think you're wrong, and they'll yell. But if you hold your guns, that's a display of strength. And women, again, no matter what they say, sex is a social construct. It isn't. Women's hinder brains, how you like big boobs? You like big boobs? You like long legs? You like a tight ass? Well, gee, I wonder where that came from. Yeah, they'll say it was Vogue or Glamour forcing it down your throat, but you never watched or read Vogue or Glamour. It's because that's what you're programmed to like. There's an innate genetic desire to have big boobs. There's a Darwinistic reason for that, okay? Women have a Darwinistic reason to a guy that can at least stand up to a woman. I mean, good Lord, if you're a guy on campus that stands up to a woman, are you man? You're like a hero. You're like a god. All these other guys. I'm picturing if I went to my old campus, there'd be a bunch of supplicant little liberal guys running around carrying the coattails of or not the coattails, but the dress. What do the women have when they get married? They got it's completely pointless. You can make 8 dresses out of it. They got that shawl, the drag or whatever, and then people carry it. Whatever. That's what I picture you guys doing, carrying this for this little lady walking down campus. Right? Stop it. Stop agreeing. Okay? You're not differentiating yourself, and you're not being a man. Right? So that's the basic. The other thing is, you just look so bad doing it. Okay? For the rest of us guys who aren't that way, could you man up? Could you just stop going to these protests? Like, I see these pictures of these, you go to these feminist protests, and there's always these pictures of these weak, wimpy, got like maybe a little bit of facial hair growing on because they hit puberty finally at 19. Although I shouldn't talk, I didn't start shaving until I was 22. I'm just saying, you know the type, you know, they got the little mustache, they got that going on. And it just, you're not gonna get laid. Do you enjoy going to these feminist protests? Do you enjoy going to these liberal protests and hey, ho, ho, something's gotta go? Is that exciting? Wouldn't you rather be playing Xbox or like running or lifting weights or, I don't know, reading a book? Anything but that. I mean, has anyone in the history of males at feminist protests ever gotten laid? Have you? In any case, try to think things through a little bit. Do not espouse political views, left or right, doesn't really matter, but it's typically more of the leftist variety. We're seeing it right now. That you don't really believe just in the vain hopes of getting laid. It isn't going to work. If anything, espousing the exact opposite views is going to help you more. Okay? But good Lord, have some self-respect. Stand up for yourself. I'm not saying you got to go join the Republican Party and, you know, donate to Mitt Romney. But at least don't waste your precious finite youth chasing after hairy armpit angry women in the hopes you might get laid saying you agree with them. And, oh yeah, socialism is great. Yeah, men suck. Anyway, I forget the guy's name. He did an article. It was immemorable. I would love to pull it up as an anecdote or an example of this. But you know what? He doesn't deserve the traffic. So, you know, anytime you see a guy write a piece about how men are the problems of all the worlds, just look at them. Look at them, okay? Do another experiment. Look at these men who write articles that are pro-feminist. I'm not saying pro-female. There's a difference, trust me. But these guys that blame men for all the problems, look at them and say, do I want to become that guy when I'm 35? Fat, bald, glasses, looks like I'm the comic book guy or the basement-dwelling nerd in the what's it called? The World of Warcraft episode of the South Park. Have you ever seen it? So, anyways, liberal boys, liberal men, learn the lesson. Agreeing with socialist, leftist, feminist women is not going to get you laid. Lifting weights, disagreeing with them, setting your own path will. But if you start doing that, you're just going to start to find out there's a lot of hotter girls in the leftist, feminist variety. Toodles.